What up, what up? Checking in on you guys. Here to let's see, can I do that thing where I do all my followers? Hold on. Is it doing that thing? No. I don't know how they do that where they tag all the kind of people to go live with, because I'm always getting tagged on people's lives, on people I don't even know. But just coming on to say hello and to complain a little bit, but mostly to say hello. I just wanted to come on tonight. I'm feeling great about the election. I know a lot of people are apprehensive and talking about, oh, it's not over yet, and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, things can turn around because Mars retrograde, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, or whatever. But it's like, legally and based off of, it's like, even if it even goes to the Supreme Court based off of the fact that there was such a, intense, huge margin with 4 million votes, popular and electoral votes, it is virtually impossible for, the other guy to become president still. Even with Mercury going direct in a couple days. Next new moon in Scorpio, definitely, if you're doing your rituals, for those of you that are water signs and earth signs, for those of you that are doing your rituals next Saturday from the new moon in Scorpio, sidereal, Libra, really new moon in Scorpio. New moon in Scorpio, it's a Mars ruled new moon, and it's going direct, so it'll be supercharged. It's kind of like everything, while we were like, it's like being stuck in neutral for like a long time, or like let's say for example, you're stuck in traffic and then finally you get off of the freeway interpass, and now like it's no traffic and you can speed, and it's like there's no cops around. It's like that's what this new moon in Scorpio next Saturday will be like. It'll be like all systems go for sure, because we won't have Mars retrograde. Mars is the ruler, traditional ruler of Scorpio. So with this new moon, whether you're doing new moon rituals or what have you, and I would say, especially since it's no longer Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde, and a lot more things are getting kicked into high gear, I definitely suggest doing rituals if that's your kink. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, no, I definitely feel positive about the Electoral College on December 14th. The eclipse will be happening exactly in Donald Trump's natal eclipse axis, on top of his moon, I believe, as well. I know he's a North Node in Leo or something like that, but and he has first house in Virgo, but he's a Leo rising. But I know the eclipse, where the eclipses were happening in his natal chart, or it's literally linking up exactly on December 14th. And it really doesn't look like things go in the direction in which the Republicans or / conservatives want. But stranger things have happened. But I honestly feel like a lot of the readers who got the prediction wrong, and here's the thing also, so it's okay. So it's like they're fighting for a lot of the readers that Donald Trump are saying, oh well, he still could become president. Inauguration day hasn't happened. Inauguration day, that whole thing. But again, it's like a winner was declared, and if he has to go to court to sue his way into presidency, which is very far-fetched, even if he is successful in suing his way into presidency, that's not a win. So it's like, stop trying to make fetch happen, because it's not going to happen. That's not a win if you have to sue your way into a job. You're either elected or you're not, and he wasn't elected. And I feel like a lot of the readers are very much reaching for straws, grabbing at straws trying to still make it happen. Just, I was wrong. I can admit I was wrong about Tekashi 6ix9ine. I mean, technically he is still very much on lockdown. We're all on lockdown right now, but it's like he's still not living the life he was pre-jail. And I had made the prediction that, he wasn't getting out. But I mean, being under federal protection still is kind of like jail, but it's not in the same circumstances in which I predicted. And I can live in that. I'm okay with that. But a lot of these people, some of these readers, won't live it down that they got this presidential election wrong. And I understand, because it makes the validity of a lot of things, a lot of other things that they say, questionable. But you're human. I feel like a lot of it is really based off of ego, because it's like, yeah, just because you're spiritual, you're initiated, you work with this spirit, you work with that spirit, that whole thing, that I could never get anything wrong, but you're still human. That's the thing. Like, you're still a human being. Just because you do readings, just because you have tens and hundreds of thousands of followers, doesn't make you the prize pig of spirituality. Hey, Ken, how are you?
The ups and downs of frequent mood swings can take you to deep depressive lows, or give you unusually high energy, even when depressed. Overwhelmed by bipolar.
I don't know this stuff about this mandatory vaccines. I definitely feel like that's speculation, especially from QAnon people. I haven't come across anything off from, the news about mandatory vaccines. I'm highly skeptical that they would make it mandatory at this point. Just because, flu shots aren't mandatory. They encourage you to get them. Millions of people die of the flu. Before there was a COVID-19, millions of people die of the flu, and they don't make it mandatory. They make it optional. They always ask you. They always highly encourage it, but they never make flu vaccines mandatory. So I find it, I'm not saying that it's absolutely impossible that COVID-19 vaccine won't become mandatory. Because, polio, tuberculosis, those things, those are all mandatory for children to go to school and whatnot. But I'm not saying it's absolutely impossible. But I feel like it's far-fetched at this point. Especially since there are countries that have this disease under control way better than America, that haven't required it. Do you have any new moon ritual suggestions, please? Especially since it's in Scorpio, sex transmutation, I always suggest during new moon in Scorpio, if you know how to do that. I'm not prepared to do like a full demonstration. Not obviously, I'm not sex transmutation, but of any other kind of ritual, dress your candles, say your prayers, do your meditations, fast if you feel compelled to. Scorpio is about extremes, so it's all about some type of extreme action, whether it's a sacrifice or a repetitive action, or a fast, or marathon sex, whatever it is that you choose to do. It's that this new moon, especially with Mars going direct and Mars being the ruler, it's all about doing things in extremes. Maybe mandatory as far as entering state federal spaces and for military. Yeah, you guys have to refer me to where I can find legit literature on where you guys are seeing this. Because I really feel like, like many things, it's all speculation and, very much based in fear. It's a possibility, absolutely, but I just feel like, I personally, not saying it's not true, I personally haven't seen any literature from anything reputable about mandatory anything. I did see that there was a team of scientists being assembled for Monday, 12 scientists, a task force being assigned. Flu shot in the military was mandatory. Yeah, I didn't know that. I'm not in the military, so I don't know. But as far as civilians, I know that flu shot is encouraged, But there's been years I didn't get a flu shot, and that's killed more people a year than COVID. Absolutely, I think the nodes will switch. I mean, that travel will open up once the nodes switch into Taurus and Scorpio. Absolutely. To be clear, I'm good with taking a vaccine. I'm good with taking a vaccine under certain circumstances. But honestly, I feel like any type of vaccine would still be a little too premature at this point. So, that's just my personal feeling. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Everything that is said on this live this evening is not law, it's solely my opinion. But I do think travel will open up, absolutely. Because, if you think about it, 18 years ago, the nodes were in Gemini and Sagittarius, and that's when 9/11 happened, and that's when we had all these restrictions on long distance travel. So these cycles, they repeat themselves. They're just under just slightly different circumstances, so to speak. And you have your right to that, absolutely. Offbeat elegance. She says, I've never been good with taking any vaccine. I'm good with taking polio and measles and all those vaccines because malaria or whatever. I'm fine. I've survived. I've taken all those vaccines and I've survived. Thank you so much. 0690.16. Appreciate that. Blue candle signifies, it can signify protection, it can signify peace, intuition, clarity, prosperity to a degree. Thank you so much, Sassy Pants Incorporated. I appreciate that. Yes, you may ask a question, Cameron Stevens. And like I said, everything I say on this platform is solely my own opinion. And I know it doesn't make me the most popular in the spiritual community because, the spiritual community can be very polarized rather on these issues in terms of vaccines or wearing masks or or 5D or whatever. And I'm always, in the middle. I ride the fence like a BMX, as they say, because I have my Mars and Venus in Libra. I'm a sidereal Libra. So, I'm very much in the middle and diplomatic about many things. When you post in Spanish in your stories in caption, well, yeah, because I'm reposting other people's stories, my friends from Venezuela. So, even sometimes I need help translating those things. But I'll try to translate as much as possible. Thank you so much, Starseed Majesty. I appreciate that. You were accurate with my relationship reading. It's scary. Oh, my pleasure, Daisy. God bless you. So the ER, and they gave me tetanus shot before I could refuse it. That might have been to, protect them as opposed to just protecting you. Yes, I use deacons. Yes, I use deacons. I am a Neptune, or I'd say Jupiter ruled deacon in Scorpio. I haven't gone into, well, actually, I take that back. In 2018, I was under a trance. 2018, I was under a trance, and I had been drinking, and after I'd been making offerings, and it's a crazy story. I wasn't possessed by any spirit, but I was definitely under a trance. I do have dreams every night. Cola nuts, what should I use them for? Placing them on your altar, making offerings. Good for prosperity. Mara, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She posted a great thread on that. I believe I have it in some of my Instagram highlights about that, about cola nuts. But yeah, in their use for divination, I believe, I'm under the understanding they're used for divination in Ifa, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but based off of what I've seen, I'm led to believe they're used for divination, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, cola nuts are for prosperity, and you place them on your altar. You make offerings with them. Yeah, that's what I thought. They're used for divination. Where can I get master root? I got my master root from Conjurcardia. And, like I said, she may not necessarily be the most popular person to get them from because, she is Caucasian and she's a hoodoo worker, or a Caucasian Appalachian worker, as she refers, or as she has been referred to. But she has master roots, and that's where I got mine. Conjurcardia. Spelled exactly how it sounds, Conjurcardia. Nothing is mandatory, just contracts we sign off on with understanding them fully. That's why you must sign your name TDC to avoid contracts later. Well, yeah, everything is contracts. When you sign up for a phone plan, cable, satellite, people have a way of verifying and knowing where you are. I always bring up the example of the Grim Sleeper, the murderer from Los Angeles. He was murdering all those women from like early 1980s up until 1990s. And they found him because his son got arrested. And in California, or at least in Los Angeles at the time, anytime you're arrested, you have to give fingerprints. I know when I was arrested, when I had that warrant, because I didn't pay the public defender, I had to give fingerprints. And I guess apparently you have to give a saliva sample. So when they tested his son's saliva, they found that he was a close match to all these murders, but he wasn't an exact match. But they knew it was close enough that it's either like, the father or grandfather or something like that. So then they looked up his father, and they waited outside of Dave & Buster's in Baldwin Park. And, there was like an undercover in the restaurant. And soon as the Grim Sleeper finished a slice of pizza, he didn't eat the crust. And the man, the undercover FBI or whatever, came and picked up the plate and then took that to the lab. And then next thing you know, as soon as the results come back, there was a SWAT team outside the Grim Sleeper's house. And there's good parts of that too, because, that gives a lot of closure to the families of all those women. There was like 30 black women that were murdered through the 80s because this man was driving around raping and killing them. And a lot of people, and especially in the spiritual community, are against DNA and whatever. But, that situation, it served its purpose. It gave people closure. It gave the families of those women closure. That's why I'm so diplomatic. But yeah, they waited outside of Dave & Buster's. So my point in saying that is like, if the government wants your shit, they'll go and they'll find a way to get it. They'll wait outside a restaurant to get it. If they want your DNA, they'll, they can always shut off the plumbing, or more so kind of siphon the plumbing. So anytime you flush the toilet, or your hair goes down the drain, they can figure out if they're willing to do that, they'll figure something out to get, your DNA if it's that serious. Forensic files, yeah. Me, Shantae out loud. Nice seeing you on here. And Nadia Simone, hello. Oh yeah, something else I wanted to talk about too. So super important that we all are, especially in this new year, super patient with local small businesses. We have to, be a lot more patient with small businesses, black businesses, minority-owned businesses. Patience during this pandemic, even though it's really, really hard. I have 2 outstanding situations with 2 businesses that I've supported. One, my issue is, it's like, okay, if I can understand there's certain products that take time to assemble and make, that's fine, and especially if you put that on your website. But don't be saying that you're sold out of it within minutes after putting it up, when it takes you 2-3 months to make it, because you could always change your mind and make more, so you're not sold out. So, like, don't be putting up phony marketing ploys talking about you're sold out when you can always make more. And it takes you 8, 9, 10 weeks to make it. That's what I don't like. But, we got to support small business, especially minority run businesses, because that's what we do around here. But yeah, that's my qualm. And then the other one is, this credit repair business that, I signed up for. And it's like, okay, well, they're like, oh, well, give us 30 months, whoopty whoopty woo. And like, I waited the 30 months, come to find out they hadn't even started. Yeah, like if you make 5 items, talk about you sold out, just make more. If you that in demand. But don't be putting up, this phony marketing ploy, sold out within minutes. No, just make more. Especially if it takes you 2-3 months to make. But like I said, we support small businesses. Definitely have to be more professional and courteous. But, as a patron of small minority run businesses, I'm not going to, put folks on blast. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to save room. I'm going to hold space for people to correct and right their wrongs, that's for sure. And then that's when I'll make my choice about supporting them again, or how frequently I support them. But yeah, that's one of my qualms for the evening. I just want to touch on that. And people could say that, oh, well, why do I have to wait for, a reading in February, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, because, I got other stuff going on. Yeah, I'm on live tonight, but like, in order to, give a good reading, I have to have my head cleared. Doing readings isn't supply and demand. I know when I have them scheduled, and I mentally prepare for when I do them. But it's like, if you're selling like mojo bags, hair products, skin products, and if it takes X amount of time to make, I definitely deserve rest. If it takes X amount of time to make, your clients know that. You have that on your website that it takes X amount of time to make, then that's fine. But definitely be transparent in regards to that. But at the same time, it's like, you can't be saying you sold out. You only made 3 products. Just make more. Especially if you haven't even made them yet. You're not sold out on products you haven't even made, that don't exist. That's like saying my TV show that I'm going to come out with is the #1 TV show in the country for 10 straight seasons and hasn't even been filmed yet. Yeah, you speak these things into existence. Yeah, that's manifesting. But in terms of your clientele, I just, you don't see, none of the other races doing that. But that's just my issue. How does sleeping with tarot cards under your pillow work? So it depends on what cards you use. A good question earlier. Someone asked, oh, what card would I sleep with if I wanted to learn tarot and whatnot? I said, since the High Priestess is all about intuition, clear intuition, trusting intuition, being able to manifest, being able to move things, and more so kind of being a pillar, or what's the word I'm looking for? Just more so of a priestess-like energy. Definitely doing that, keeping that under the pillow and sleeping with it. It's not overnight. It definitely takes some time to, kick in. And, there are nights that you'll forget that it's even under your pillow or in your pillow. But definitely, these cards have power, especially when you read with them and you've cleansed them and you've activated them. Obviously, do it with, a deck that you don't use normally. Because, sometimes you'll forget that the card is under there. My pleasure. Indigo Freeze. But don't, sometimes you'll forget the cards under there, so you just put it on your pillow. But yeah, if you're learning to read tarot, or let's say like you are, you just want to be more optimistic about the future. You want to feel better about, stuff. If you have a lot of anxiety about what's going on in the world and COVID and stuff, sleep with the star under your pillow. And you'll start getting messages about what to do that will open your paths and make you a lot more optimistic. Part of performing miracles is being realistic, absolutely. And also, putting action with your prayer. Prayers without works is dead. Was that Ezekiel or something like that? One of them. Usually I'm better with memorizing what is what in the Bible, but I don't know. Can't think of it right now. Absolutely. You could do more than one card. Absolutely. I forgot where I got this practice from. So I don't want to take credit like, oh, I invented this new thing. No, I got it from someone else, but I can't remember who, unfortunately. But I just want to put that out there. Faith without works is dead. Yeah, but I can't remember what that is. Hey Claudette, how are you? Hello, Chosen 888L. Most of the people that go to church aren't real Christians. So it's like, you don't have to be a Christian in order to read the Bible, use the Bible. Lover's card and Two of Cups under my pillow for a few days. Excellent. Hopefully you'll find the commitment and love that you are looking for. My birthday was wonderful. As many of you might know, I went to New Orleans last week, or the week before last, I think, or something like that. And I did that for my birthday, even though it was like, it ended in shambles. Well, it wasn't that bad. It was just, because of the lack of electricity, it wasn't fun. But it definitely started out wonderful. I definitely pigged out and drank a lot and had fun. And what I did for my actual birthday, I just went to the gym. I definitely get a whole lot out by doing that. In terms of, me doing these readings and not being stuck on this phone all day. Because one of the reasons, besides, wanting to slim down, wanting to lose weight in terms of going to the gym, was not being so wrapped up in the goings-ons with these phones. Because, especially when you have so much of a platform, you tend to think that, like, you're your own little city, and you have to snap out of that. You have to snap out of this, this egocentric, egomaniacal kind of thing to where it's like, I am this all-encompassing, all-knowing. No, I'm a human being, and I have to have a real life outside of these social media apps, to where it's like, when people are throwing shade and, people you've never met are throwing shade at you, don't know you from Adam, and you get wrapped up in it, get, super consumed in it. That's why I told myself, I have to find outside things to do, things to keep me preoccupied, to where I'm not all caught up in that. Thank you so much, Indigo Freeze. I was there Halloween weekend, New Orleans. Hope you had a good time. Just reading some of your previous comments. Oh yeah, I also wanted to say, any pages, if you get contacted by a page that says Witch Doctor anything, and it isn't this page, it's not me. So don't give them your money. Don't tell them anything personal. I for damn sure I'm not soliciting readings or, trying to pick up any new readings, not no DMs. That's for damn sure. So you heard it from the horse's mouth that isn't me. I don't do that. Hey Travis, how are you? So any pages that aren't me, it's really good incentive for, well, not incentive, more so kind of proof for Instagram to verify me. But being verified isn't the most important thing, especially during retrograde shadow. Hey Milan Ashley, I learned astrology first, but I feel like I'm more of an astrology enthusiast as opposed to an astrologer because, I don't do readings for people as a profession. And I feel like that's what more of a astrologer is as opposed to an, an astrologist or an astrology enthusiast. I practice astrology for myself, but I feel like until like I've actually taken someone's course and I'm actually really doing in-depth astrology readings like the zodiacal releasing, like the annual perfections, like the progressions, like the solar return charts, and I can cram that into a reading and not be completely like famished, and that's when I can really say I'm an astrologer. But like I said, I got plenty of people that I know that can do readings for you guys, and I talk about them every time I get on live. I can tell you, hundreds of people, hundreds of great astrologers that you can go to. Certification. Yeah, there's Chris Brennan has courses. SF Reynolds has courses. That is what's the name of that organization? They're always talking about something astrology association or something like that. But anyway, it's this certification program that you know a lot of the queen bees of astrology came up with. Because they all do that ISAR. ISAR is the name of the organization, so you can get ISAR certification. I feel like once I get that, because it comes with the test, it's kind of like taking the LSAT, but it's not like as severe, I'm sure. SF Reynolds. I know SF Reynolds, Chris Brennan, and SF Reynolds, not Chris Reynolds, but they all do the ISAR certification, and that's all for astrologers who go to what's that thing in Seattle? It's like astrology. It's like astrology con or something like that. Some kind of convention for all the astrologers in Washington, Northwest, or Seattle somewhere. And yeah, they all do that, and they all click up. They're all like super clicky, but yeah, in a good way. They're cool now, but like when I was first getting into astrology, they were like, "Who are you?" Like, they were just very very clicky. But they especially since there's so many clients now, and so many people with an interest, and so much like fat to chew through in terms of shitty astrology and bad astrology. I feel like there's a lot more unity now, and especially since there's been so many new characters that have joined the group, and there's been so many fights and so much back and forth that there's unity now because we've gotten all the kinks out. Hey Heal de Guadalupe, how are you? But yeah, I feel like Astro Twitter has gotten all the kinks out, and there's no more fighting, at least to my knowledge. I mean, the last scandal was DJ the journalist and her $800 readings that everyone was up in arms about. But someone brought up a really good point. It's like if there's purses and shoes that you're willing to spend that money on, it's not called astrology con, but it's like something like that. But I forget what it's called. But it's basically an astrology convention. But yeah, if you're willing to spend $800 on shoes and a purse, if you got the money for a reading, do an $800 reading. However, well, I don't know. But it was a good point that person made. But There's people who have 37, 40 years of astrology study under their belt and they aren't charging that much. People who have really good astrology study under their belt, they're, the most I've seen with really respected astrologers is like 400 on average, between, 175. Cam White does, I think an hour and a half reading for 175. MarenAltman, her readings are like 200, I think. AstrobyMax, his hour and a half reading, which I strongly suggest you all get, was $75. Yeah, it's based in Seattle. It's not called AstroCon, but it's an astrological convention. But it's not called AstroCon. Just to clear that up. Hello, Freddie Fettuccini. I like your name. But yeah, it's not called AstroCon, but it's basically an astrological convention. But yeah, typically, astrological readings from people who are worth their weight in salt are to AstrobyMax, I think his name is. I always forget it, but he's always on my story. You can't miss him. And on my Twitter. But yeah, on average, the readings are between 75 to 400. But yeah, the 800 situation. Hey, Kangaroo, how are you? The $800 situation is crazy. I'm not saying anything is bad about that person. There's a lot to debate about. But, I'm not hating on nobody. That's not my job tonight. Because there's plenty of that going on Twitter that day. But whatever. AstrobyMax, $75, 100 and no, not 100. $75 an hour and a half reading. And all the stuff that you've been seeing on my my Instagram story in terms of zodiacal releasing, annual perfections, monthly perfections, all that jazz, he does for $75. AstrobyMax. I'll try and put it here. AstrobyMax. Something like that. Something like that. Thank you so much, Kangaroo. Nice to see you. Yeah, something like that. It's like AstrobyMax or Max Glee or something like that. But I'm sure you're pretty sure it's AstrobyMax is what his name is. And if not, then I'll post his info on my Instagram story once again. I'm still getting the hang. It looks like I have a stain here, but I don't. It's just the tie dye. Sublime. I'll post this stuff on my story. I'm just getting the hang of zodiacal releasing. I feel like I pretty much understand it for the most part, but I'm sure it's, being that it's astrology, of course it's more complicated than that. Because as usual, how you give readings without license, because I have some people interested in me giving them natal chart readings. No, you don't need a license to do astrological readings. It's always encouraged to do as many readings as possible so you can sharpen your muscle in doing readings. But for me, that's what I was mentioning. For me, I don't feel like I would be comfortable calling myself an astrologer until I have that. But that's just me putting myself through the ringer, because I'm a Scorpio. And inside real, I'm a Scorpio rising. So I'm a Scorpio no matter what it is. But that's just me needing to put myself through extremes and through the ringer in order to feel worthy. But you don't have to do that. If you want to give astrological readings and charge for them, that's your prerogative. And that's how you learn. But that's just me, wanting to make myself suffer and put myself through the ringer. But it's not a requirement for everyone. Most of the people that, do that don't have pISAR certification. Even the people that are in pISAR, they don't be having those certifications sometimes. And I may never get pISAR certified. Who knows? The zodiacal releasing, yeah, it takes some time, King Jessica. Take some time to find on AstroSeek. AstroSeek is really the only website that I know, at least that I've seen it on. But AstroSeek is so thorough and detailed, and they have anything that you see the astrology community on Twitter talking about. Like they'll have it like within 2 weeks. They'll anything the freshest, the newest stuff. They definitely stay up to date. You just have to play around with it. Why would you need a license to practice a gift that you inherited? No, it's not that I need a license. I'm just one of those. I'm just one of those people that needs to put myself through the ringer. That's all. I'm not saying that it's a requirement. And I mean, I still practice astrology in my readings. If you have it, those of you that have gotten a reading from me, I still talk about your upcoming transits, transits that are coming up throughout the year. But like I feel like there are so many things that I do want to incorporate in those readings that I feel like until I really really master those practices, I won't feel comfortable telling folks about them. Like until I master zodiacal releasing, until I master perfections and progressions, until I master those things, I don't want to say that I'm just out here just doing the damn thing with those practices. But I'll talk about astrology during a reading. I'll talk about your chart during a reading. Because there are things I know. But yeah, I definitely want to get to a point in my readings where I'm able to do those things and provide people with the answers, especially date specific answers that they're looking for. I feel like I'm good at it already, but I feel like there's always room for improvement in terms of these divination practices. Yeah, passionate is the right word. I am passionate. Yeah, that's exactly my point, King Jessica. I don't want to be out here playing with people's lives because, even though I don't charge the most, people's money is people's money. They work for that. So, I was just complaining about, supporting these small businesses and the money that I put into them. I can't turn around and be half-assing saying that and then turning around and half-assing my product or what I provide. To put under your pillow, precious 502. High Priestess, the Sun card. Knight of Swords. Queen of Swords. But mostly the High Priestess and Sun, I would say. Yeah, for readings, the High Priestess or the Sun card. All right, you guys. Well, you guys are winding down. Thank you for watching. This will be on YouTube tomorrow. Thank you so much, Yo Yoli, and I'll talk to you guys soon.